A Chinese vessel, sanctioned by Washington, carrying cargo through waters America just declared under its control. Day one of the United States naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and China walked right through it. Not with warships, not with threats, with a single tanker called the Rich Starry, and the world just changed. Let us go back 48 hours. On Sunday, peace talks between the United States and Iran collapsed in Islamabad, Pakistan. No deal, no breakthrough. The Strait of Hormuz still closed. Trump responded by announcing a naval blockade. Starting Monday at 10 in the morning Eastern Time, the United States military would prevent ships from entering or leaving Iranian ports anywhere along the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Trump called it the same approach America uses against drug traffickers in the Caribbean. Stop the ships, cut off the money. The target was clear. Iran earns roughly $150 million every single day from oil exports. Washington wanted to shut that pipeline down, but there was a problem nobody in the mainstream media wanted to talk about. China gets more than half of its seaborne oil supply through the Strait of Hormuz. 38% of all the oil that passes through that waterway on a normal day goes directly to Chinese ports. That is not a trade relationship, that is a lifeline. And China is the biggest buyer of Iranian oil on the planet. Before this war began, Iran supplied 13% of all of China's seaborne oil imports. So when Washington announced this blockade, Beijing did not just react diplomatically. It reacted economically, strategically, and with a vessel called the Rich Starry. This tanker is owned by Shanghai Zhuanrun Shipping. It has been under United States sanctions since 2023 for transporting Iranian crude. On Monday, the first full day of the blockade, the Rich Starry tried to pass through the strait. It turned back near Iran's Keshm Island, possibly testing the waters, possibly waiting for orders. Then it tried again. By early Tuesday, shipping data from Marine Traffic, LSEG and KPILA all confirmed the same thing. The Rich Starry had passed through the Strait of Hormuz, unchallenged. A United States-sanctioned Chinese vessel carrying 250,000 barrels of cargo. Gone. No United States Navy interception, no warning shots, nothing. Now, here is where the mainstream narrative falls apart. The United States blockade did not actually block the Strait of Hormuz. Not fully. United States Central Command was very specific. The blockade covers vessels entering or leaving Iranian ports. Ships going to non-Iranian destinations, permitted to pass freely. The Rich Starry was officially headed to China. It had loaded its cargo at a United Arab Emirates port, not an Iranian port, so technically Washington could not stop it. And this is where the strategy gets dangerous, because Iran has taken a different approach. Tehran is charging a toll for passage through its own approved corridor near Larak Island. Vessels are paying Iran to pass through. Washington is watching. 2 powers, 2 sets of rules, 1 narrow waterway, and every ship in the region now has to negotiate both. One analyst from the risk platform Galatics described the situation perfectly. This is no longer a price shock, he said. This is a structural disruption of global trade. Beijing's foreign ministry did not stay quiet. Spokesman Guo Jiakun called the blockade dangerous and irresponsible. China's top diplomat Wang Yi said it does not serve the common interests of the international community. And Xi Jinping himself said the world must not be allowed to revert to the law of the jungle. But watch what China is doing, not just what it is saying. On the same day the Rich Starry sailed through, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrived in Beijing with a red carpet welcome. Beijing and Moscow are coordinating their response. Xi Jinping is also meeting with leaders from the UAE and Vietnam this week. China is presenting itself as the stable, reliable alternative to Washington's chaos. And there is a bigger picture here. Iran and China have spent the past 6 weeks accelerating a plan to settle oil trades in yuan instead of US dollars. The blockade is not just about Iran's oil revenue. It is about whether Washington can still use the dollar as a weapon. And China is quietly building the infrastructure to make that weapon obsolete. Here is what we are watching now. A potential second round of US-Iran talks is being discussed. Oil prices dipped below $100 per barrel on Tuesday, suggesting markets see some hope. But hope and reality are different things. The IEA says global oil demand is expected to fall by 80,000 barrels per day this year. The IMF projects global economic growth to slow to 3.1% in 2026. And 20,000 seafarers are still trapped in the Persian Gulf, stranded on vessels in a war zone. The International Chamber of Shipping has called the situation extremely concerning. Meanwhile, Trump has threatened 50% tariffs on any country that supplies Iran with weapons. US intelligence reports suggest China may be preparing to deliver new air defense systems to Tehran. China denies this completely. Trump and Xi are scheduled to meet in Beijing next month. That summit, analysts say, is now in serious doubt. Here is the bottom line. The US announced a blockade. A Chinese vessel, under US sanctions, sailed through it on day one. Washington did not stop it. That single fact tells you more about the balance of power in this conflict than any press conference ever will. China is not fighting the US militarily in the Strait of Hormuz. It is doing something far more dangerous. It is proving that American power has limits. That is the story behind the story. Here we are. If this kind of analysis matters to you, follow us, share this video, and let us keep digging.